Okay, so hey everyone, today we are going to learn about parents and child component, how they are communicating and everything. So, but previously what we have gone through is, previously we went through data binding, and it's four types. It's four types. It was basically communication between the components view, which is HTML, which is HTML components means, let's say this is a component. It's HTML file and TF file. Communication between these two, this is called data binding. This is what is called data binding. Data binding. Take. And those were the four types which we previously talked about. Today we are going to learn about this parent component and child component. What are this? I'll tell you this one. Just a minute. Let's bring this down. See, parent. Let's say this is one parent component we have created. This is one parent component which is okay. Let's say parent component, and inside there we have two or three more components, which is called child component. Let's say we have three components. These are child components. Child. Now, how these two are communicating, how they will communicate with each other. This is what is shown in this diagram. In this diagram, they have shown us when we are sending any data. Like if parent is sending some data to their child, then they'll use at the rate input in at the rate input decoder. When the child is sending to parent, then they will use output decorator. Now what are this? What this both are? We'll clear this up and we'll see how these things is working practically. But previous practically, but pre- before that, let's see how this thing is happening theory. Let me show you in diagram. Previously, what we have done here is no, let's go directly to practical, and we'll see how things are happening there. Now I have your Angular, like previously we are going through with the Angular process. If you are new, then you can, if you just want to learn this topic, also it's fine. Just get a new component here inside your Angular folder. Other than templates, for you, those guys who are following this playlist, just create a new component, new project for this, ng new Angular 21, Angular 21, Angular 21. See, now, yes, that is created. Then what we are going to do, then what we will be doing here is we'll create this. We already have a parent component called app. So inside that we'll create one more child component called demo1. Demo1. Inside this you'll use at the red input to receive. Now it helps to receive data from parent. Okay. When this is sending data to demo child one, at the input is a decorator that get that data and that display in this demo one, that helps this demo one to receive the data from the parent. This is the parent and this one is the child. Okay. So other than that, we have output at the rate output. Here what happens, this is child and this is parent, and I'll use output here only. In TS file we'll use @output. But also we have something called if let's event emitter here. Let's say we declared event, and which is equal to new event emitter. New event emitter of type we are sending data to string. Now what is this? Now what is this? The question arises, what is event emitter? Event emitter means whenever a action is happening, like whenever we click something or whatever, like whenever there is a click from the user, that button will emit something. See, for example, here let's say we have a function called send data. We'll run this function. Whenever we'll run this function, we'll tell this dot event, this one is event, this dot event dot emit. Here we have said it will event emitter, means it will send something, some string it will be sending. So we'll tell a string, let's say output success, that's it. So it will, whenever we run this function, whenever we run this function, it will emit a string called output success, and we need to store this output success somewhere in the variable, and that's going to happen in our parent class. In our parent class we will store this value. Now in this parent class we have already added a selector of this child. We have previously talked that selector app child or whatever it is, we have already kept in this parent, where in the .html file, inside .html file we have kept something. Inside .html file we already have app child selector. We already have there. What we are going to do is there will be the event coming. We'll mention that event binding. We have already talked that there will be an event coming from this app child. As this is already in app child, it will be in TS file, right? So from here, this event is gonna come here. What is this event? This event name is event itself. So this event is going to come, and when this event will come, we need to run a function called we'll define another function inside TS file of this parent, where it will receive data. But let me just move this part. Okay, you come this below. Fine. So receive the data. Now receive the data, and what is this is okay, receive the data of event. There will parameter we are going to put here. So receive data of string, and it should will have a variable as well here. We'll have a variable called name of string is equal to something blank. Okay, so this name is equal to this event. Means I'll tell you what we are doing. So whenever event is coming from this app child, which is this one, then run this function called receive data, where we have a dollar event. Here, this what is specifying here is there is one closing app.child. Okay, so here what is happening, whatever data is coming from here, in this event, it will store over here. So we are sending a data called a string, we are sending a data output success. So this will be stored over here. Understood? That's what it's going to happen. Now let's implement this in code. It would be easy. Now once I implement this one, okay, our this one is ready. Now let's dive into that. Cd Angular 21. Inside this, come inside this and open your terminal. Then ng generate component demo1. Create a child component. We are getting a child component. So we have generated that one. It will be inside your app. Now we have already demo1. First we'll implement something called input at the rate input from parent to child. First one we are going to do parent to child from this app is a parent component. We already have a parent component, and inside that we have a child component. Inside this one you will have a component. It will become that let's say inside demo one we have another have a component which is a child component of demo one. So now, but why to create that one? Let's assume that this is a child component and the app is a parent component. Inside this we'll, we'll write a input function. Just to make it clear, just remember this thing: sending data from parent to child, we use at the rate input. It's not working. We'll use at the rate input. See, just remember like this. It comes like this: parent to child. So here we'll use input. Okay, this is child and this is parent. And when sending data from child to parent will use at the rate output. So it's like parent from child, and actions are happening mostly from the child. So you can think like that. From here we'll use output. We are sending the data, so it's output. Here receiving the data, so it's input. Understood? Receiving the data in child, so it's input. Sending the data from child, so it's output. Okay, remember that. Now as we are receiving the data inside our demo one, which is child function, which is a child component, that's why we will use at the rate input. So import input, just be conscious with the syntax. So we'll tell at the rate input. We have this function thing. Syntax, it's very important. That is we are getting some name is equal name of type string is equal to blank. Let's keep it blank. Okay, also remember there is two thing: capital S string. This is capital S, and there is small s string. Small s string. Both are different. This is primitive, and this is wrapper. Okay, understood. Now what this is that here will it helps to help, it's like to perform some actions, helps in performing actions, like performing actions like, or like methods. This is normal, like our primitive type. We'll have a string like this. Okay, so this is what we need to use, not this one. Don't be confused. If you write somewhere like this capital S, then it will give some errors to you, like they'll ask you to use this small s one. So make sure of that. Now so I have used this one. So name equals string, we have already done here. And what we are going to do here is, okay, so parent to child we are sending. So uh, inside this HTML file we already have here, and we'll make a decorator called name which is come as interpolation. Using interpolation, this name is going to come here. Whenever here, done here, whenever a parent, our app component is sending any data, then this input at the rate input will help to get the data, and it will store it inside this name, and this name is going to display here using interpolation. Now we'll make the pipe, and then now we'll make the connection from the app to demo 1. So we'll have to get the selector of this, as we know how to do this one. We have already done. Okay, selector. Here will import sorry, demo1. Inside this we'll have demo1. Okay, cool. Now here what we are going to do, remove all this thing. Okay, so here we need to use something called property binding. Now inside the name we already have a name, and we'll send a variable from here. Here we'll have some variable, something we are sending a data. That's why trial of string is equal to data from parent success. Okay, so we are sending call date trial. Okay, so we have sent. So this variable trial data is being sent in the selector of that parent HTML, your selector of that child component, using property binding. Now name is a property of our child. It's a property called variable, so we are sending by this trial variable. Now it will go there as we have already mentioned, input equal to input name, so it will store here, and this variable is going to be displayed here. Okay, so now let's run it. Ngsolve. Okay, so it's coming, right? It's coming data from parent success. Okay, now what we are going to do now, data from parent to child, it's done. Now child to parent, which is output at the rate output. Now we have done here, this part is done. Parent to child input is done. Now what we are going to do, now output will be using. Okay, so here inside here only we'll define a output. Import output at the rate output, let's say trial. We'll use event here. Any event equal to new. Now event emitter is a class like of string. Need to use a primitive string, type string we are sending. Event emitter is something whenever we'll emit something, it will send a data. Whenever we click something or whatever action we are doing, it will emit something. The data will be sending, or any sort of data it sends. So that time we'll use event emitter. So we'll write a function here to send the data. Send message. So this dot event, as event is a event emitting object, so event emitter object. That's why it has a function. It has a method called emit. It will emit a string, like as we are emitting a string. So send event send means emit. Success. Okay, sending from child to parent success. Okay, done. Our this emitter and everything is done, set up here. Done this part. Now we are going to catch this in our parent. So inside this, what we are going to do, we have event binding. So now inside this, we need to write what event is going to come from this one, this app demo one. App demo one is our child component, right? So what event is going to come from this component? We are going to write that name. So here the event is coming, event event name. It can be event name also. It whatever it can. It's not limited to event. It can be event name, but we need to specify that everywhere. So event name is coming from our child component, and when it comes, what we are going to do, we'll run a function of this here. Inside the parent component, we'll run a function called receive data, receive message. What type of data is going to come, what type of message is going to come? It will be like string. Okay, keep it string. So inside the string, what we're going to do, we'll store the data somewhere, right? We'll data of string. Okay, so this dot data is equal to this dollar event. So this dollar event, as we'll use this function here, so whenever it comes something receive, let's copy that function name, as I have made some typo here, function name, and put it here. And inside that function we already have parameter dollar event. Now this dollar event means whatever data or message this function is bringing, emitting, that value, that message is going to be stored here as a parameter. It will be sending to this receive message function. Now this is a syntax, you need to remember this one, and this is the logic where you'll store this value over here, and this function will help to store that inside here. Now this is something that you need to understand, and this is something you need to remember. Cool. Now in here we have made the logic. We'll create a button that will trigger this one. Now we have not triggered, we do not have that mechanism to trigger this emitting with anything. So again we will use this event binding thing, where if we click some button, then it will run this function and it will emit this data. It will emit this data to the parent. So we'll create a button here. Let's first list first data from child to parent at the output. Okay, so let's do a button send data. So whenever clicked, run a function called send message. Whenever we click something, do this message function, run it. So whenever it is run, whenever this will run, it will send the data, call sending message to that, and inside this it will receive this event here, and it will run this function which is inside here, and it will get a parameter, that message value here, and this dot data means this variable is equal to here. Inside this we'll store that data, and this data is gonna be displayed using interpolation here. Okay, now let's see. Okay, data from child to parent, either at output, sending data. See, sending from child to parent. Now it's showing that. Understood? This is how it is happening. Okay, so thank you, and this is what it